Really, Gary? I'm just being friendly. You're reading too much into it. Please don't ruin my fun with your insecurity. Those words hang in the air between us like poison. My name is Gary Chin, and I'm standing in the middle of the Grand Meridian Hotel ballroom, watching my wife of 2 years dismiss me like I'm some paranoid child who doesn't understand how adults network. The champagne in my hand suddenly feels too heavy, too expensive, too much like everything else in this moment that I can't quite afford emotionally. Let me back up. 30 minutes ago, I was in the bathroom of this 5-star hotel, adjusting my tie and practicing my smile in the mirror. This was supposed to be Jane's big night, a corporate networking event where all the important marketing executives gather to exchange business cards and pretend to care about each other's quarterly projections. I was proud to be here, honestly. Proud to watch my wife work the room with that magnetic confidence she's always had, the kind that made me fall in love with her 5 years ago when she walked into that coffee shop and ordered the most complicated drink I'd ever heard. But through the crack in the bathroom door, I saw something that made my practiced smile falter. Jane was laughing with someone, her hand resting on a stranger's forearm just a second too long. I told myself it was nothing. Networking. That's what people do at these things, right? They touch arms and laugh at jokes that aren't funny and pretend everyone in the room is their new best friend. Then I saw her glance toward the bathroom. Our eyes didn't meet, but she knew I was there. She whispered something to the man and he nodded, slipping something into her hand. A business card, probably. Just a business card. My phone buzzed in my pocket. Unknown number. The text read, "You deserve better than this." I stared at those 5 words, my heart beginning to hammer against my ribs. Who would send this? Why now? I looked back through the door crack, but Jane had moved. I deleted the text, washed my hands even though I didn't need to, and walked back out into the glittering trap of the Grand Meridian ballroom. That's when I saw it clearly. The moment that led to those poison words. Please, before I continue, kindly like, share and subscribe for more interesting videos. Across the marble floor, past the ice sculpture of a swan that's slowly melting under the chandelier lights, Jane stands with a man I don't recognize. He's got salt and pepper hair, an expensive suit that probably costs more than my monthly salary, and the kind of confident posture that comes from never being told no. They're standing close, closer than colleagues, closer than new acquaintances, closer than my wife should be standing with any man who isn't me. Jane throws her head back laughing at something he said, and then it happens. Both of her palms press flat against his chest, fingers splayed across the fabric of his suit jacket. She leans in like she's sharing a secret, her face inches from his, and I watch her hands slide slowly, deliberately from his chest down to his tie. The gesture is intimate, familiar. The kind of touch that says this isn't the first conversation they've ever had. My hand tightens around my champagne glass so hard I'm surprised it doesn't shatter. But I don't move. Not yet. Instead, I pull out my phone and start recording from a distance, keeping it low and casual like I'm just checking messages. A waiter passes between us, blocking my view for just 3 seconds. When he moves, Jane's hand is adjusting the man's tie, and he's smiling down at her with the kind of look that makes my stomach turn. The executive pulls out a business card, gold-plated because of course it is, but Jane shakes her head. She says something, then points toward the exit. Not toward the networking tables. Not toward the bar. The exit. He nods, checks his watch, and mouths what looks like 30 minutes. I stop recording. My phone feels like it's burning a hole in my palm. 3 years of marriage counseling flash through my mind, the therapist telling me I need to trust more, communicate better, not let my insecurities poison our relationship. Jane sitting beside me, nodding along, squeezing my hand like we're a team working through this together. I think about our second date when she looked at me seriously over Thai food and said, "I need you to know, I'm a touchy person. I'm affectionate with everyone. If you're the jealous type, this won't work." I'd laughed it off, determined to be the secure boyfriend, the evolved man who didn't let toxic masculinity ruin a good thing. "I trust you," I'd said. "I'm such an idiot." I walk toward them, my footsteps silent on the expensive carpet. My heart is pounding but my face is calm. Years of swallowing my feelings have made me excellent at this. The art of appearing fine when everything inside is screaming. "Hey honey," I say, my voice steady. "Introduce me to your friend?" Jane's eyes flash with something, irritation, maybe fear, I can't tell anymore, before her face rearranges itself into a smile. "This is Marcus. He's in real estate development. Marcus, this is Gary, my husband." Marcus extends his hand and his grip is firm, confident, the handshake of a man who's used to winning. "Pleasure. Your wife was just telling me about her marketing consultancy. Very impressive work." I turn to Jane, holding her gaze. I saw you two talking. Seemed pretty intense. That's when she says it. Those words that will replay in my mind for weeks. Really, Gary? I'm just being friendly. You're reading too much into it. Please don't ruin my fun with your insecurity. The ballroom seems to go quiet, even though the music and conversation continue around us. Marcus shifts uncomfortably, suddenly very interested in his champagne. Jane crosses her arms, waiting for me to apologize like I always do, to back down and make myself smaller so she can continue her evening without the inconvenience of my feelings. Something crystallizes in that moment. Not anger, anger would be easier. This is clarity, cold and sharp as a knife. I smile. You're right. My apologies. I turn to Marcus. Enjoy your evening. As I walk away, I hear Jane whisper to him, sorry about him. He gets like this sometimes. Marcus murmurs something back and Jane laughs, that same intimate laugh that used to be reserved for me. I don't head to the bar. I head straight for the exit, pulling out my phone. My fingers hover over a contact I've been too afraid to call for months. David Park, my college roommate. The divorce attorney. I press call. The parking garage is cold and echoes with my footsteps. I sit in my Tesla, engine running, hands shaking so badly I have to grip the steering wheel to make them stop. David answers on the second ring. Gary? It's almost midnight, man. Everything okay? No, I say, and my voice cracks on that single syllable. It's not. I need you to meet me tonight. It's time. There's a pause. David knows exactly what I mean. 3 years ago he'd been my best man, but he'd pulled me aside the night before the wedding. Brother, I love you, but I need to say this once. She flirts with everyone. Even the bartender at your rehearsal dinner. Maybe that's just her personality, but keep your eyes open. I'd been furious. We didn't speak for 6 months. Jane had been the one to convince me to reconcile, saying David was probably just jealous. Looking back now, I realize David never really warmed back up to Jane after that. He was polite but distant. He knew. I opened my glove compartment. Inside is a small black notebook I started keeping 6 months ago, after I came home early one afternoon and found Jane on a video call with a shirtless man. She'd said it was a casual client call. He works from home in California, but that night while she slept I checked the laptop history. 2-hour calls. Dozens of them. Always late at night when I worked overtime. That's when I started writing things down. Dates. Times. Names I overheard. Observations that seemed small individually but together painted a picture I'd been refusing to see. Meet me at Mel's Diner, David says. I'll be there in 20. I look at my notebook one more time. Marcus isn't the first name in here. He's just the loudest. Page after page of evidence I've been too scared to act on, too worried about being called controlling or insecure. I start the car and drive away from the Grand Meridian Hotel, away from my wife who's probably already back to charming Marcus, away from the man I used to be, the one who apologized for having boundaries. Mel's Diner is one of those 24-hour places that smells like coffee and regret. David's already in a booth when I arrive, a manila folder on the table between us. He stands, hugs me, a real hug, the kind that says I'm sorry and I warned you and I'm here now all at once. I pulled everything you asked for last month, he says as we sit. Bank statements, social media archives, phone records you authorized me to request. Gary, are you absolutely sure about this? I think about Jane right now, probably at some after-party with Marcus, probably laughing about her paranoid husband who can't handle her being friendly. I think about 2 years of making myself smaller, of apologizing for my instincts, of being gaslit into believing that having basic expectations made me toxic. I'm sure. David slides the folder across the table. My hands tremble as I open it. Inside are screenshots, Instagram DMs between Jane and at least 4 different men over the past year. Nothing explicitly sexual, nothing I could point to and say this is definitely cheating, but intimate. Miss you. That night was special. Your husband doesn't need to know we grabbed coffee. There's a pattern. She tests boundaries, keeps things ambiguous enough to deny, makes the other person feel crazy for questioning. I recognize it because I've lived it. 8 months ago, my coworker Sarah pulled me aside after a team lunch. I saw your wife at Russo's wine bar last Thursday night. With a guy. They were holding hands across the table. I felt my stomach drop. That was her business partner. They were celebrating closing a deal. Sarah had nodded slowly, not believing me but too polite to push. Okay. I just thought you should know. I'd reported the conversation to Jane that night. She'd been furious at Sarah. She's clearly into you and trying to sabotage us. This is so inappropriate. She demanded I report Sarah to HR. I didn't. But I also didn't talk to Sarah much after that. Now I flip to the last screenshot. It's from Marcus, dated 2 weeks ago. Can't wait to see you at the Meridian event. Wear that black dress I like. The black dress she's wearing tonight. She planned this, I whisper. David nods. The question is, what are you going to do about it? It's 2 in the morning when I get home. Jane texted an hour ago, after party with clients. Don't wait up. I don't respond. Instead, I go straight to my home office and lock the door. My computer boots up and I open the hidden folders I've been maintaining for months. Everything gets uploaded to the secure cloud drive David set up. Photos, messages, tonight's video, screenshots of expenses that don't add up. Then I open our shared financial documents and that's when I find it. 3 months ago, Jane withdrew $15,000 from our joint savings. The memo said, business investment. I'd asked about it once and she'd gotten defensive. Why are you tracking my spending? This is for my consultancy. Don't you trust me? But here, in an email thread I finally have access to through the archived account David subpoenaed, Jane had written to her friend Alexis, can't wait for our Cabo trip. Book the resort. Girls' week is going to be amazing. I check our calendar. That week, Jane had told me she was at a business conference in Phoenix. I'd even called the hotel one night to say goodnight, and she'd answered breathlessly, saying she'd just gotten back from a networking dinner. There was no conference. There was Cabo. $15,000 of our money, spent on a vacation I knew nothing about. My hands are shaking again. I think about our wedding day, how I'd paid for everything because her consultancy was still getting off the ground. How I'm on the lease for our apartment, how my credit financed her car, how for 2 years she promised we'd equalize things once her business stabilized. Her business did stabilize. She just opened a separate bank account I have no access to. When I asked about it, she called me controlling. I hear keys in the door. Quickly, I close everything and sit in the darkness of the living room, waiting. Jane stumbles in at 2:47 in the morning, heels in hand, makeup slightly smudged. She doesn't see me sitting in the armchair by the window. Have fun. My voice cuts through the darkness. She jumps, hand to chest. Jesus, Gary. You scared me. Why are you sitting in the dark like a creep? I was thinking. She rolls her eyes, heading toward the bedroom. About what? How you embarrassed me tonight. About how you're right. She stops. Turns slowly. What? You were just being friendly. I was being insecure. I'm sorry. Jane's expression shifts from defensive to suspicious. This isn't how our fights usually go. Usually, I apologize immediately, promise to work on my jealousy, ask what I can do to make it up to her. Usually, I make myself smaller until she forgives me for having feelings. Okay, she says slowly. Good. I'm glad you see that. She pauses, studying my face in the darkness. I'm exhausted. Coming to bed. Soon. You go ahead. She lingers for a moment, like she knows something is different but can't figure out what. Then she shrugs and disappears into the bedroom. I hear the shower start a few minutes later. She always showers after these events, says she feels gross from all the handshaking and small talk. I pull out my phone and open my banking app. One by one, I transfer funds from our joint account to my personal account, exactly half of what I've contributed over the past 2 years. It takes 4 transfers to stay under the daily limit, but I manage it. Then I text David, starting tomorrow. I need a storage unit and a week off work. His response comes immediately, already ahead of you. Units reserved. I'll help you move. I sit in that chair until the sun comes up, listening to my wife sleep peacefully in our bed, completely unaware that the man she married has already left. Jane's alarm goes off at 7. I hear her reach across the bed, feel for me. I left a note on my pillow before I slipped out at 6. Had to head to the office early for an emergency deployment. Might be late tonight. Don't wait up. Gee. From my car parked down the street, I watch her bedroom window. The light turns on. 10 minutes later, I see her silhouette moving around. Life is normal. She has no idea. My phone buzzes. It's David. Moving truck is ready. Sarah said she'll help too. Said it's the least she can do. Sarah. My coworker who tried to warn me 8 months ago. I texted her last night, apologized for not believing her. She'd responded immediately, I'm just glad you see it now. Let me help. I spend the day moving my things to a storage unit across town. Not everything. Jane would notice if the apartment was suddenly empty. Just the essentials. My clothes. My computer. My gaming setup. The photo albums from before Jane, the one she always said made her feel like she was competing with my past. Sarah and David work efficiently, asking no questions, just helping me reclaim pieces of my life. By 4 in the afternoon, 3 years of marriage fit into a 10 by 10 storage unit. What about tonight? Sarah asks as we finish. I'll stay at David's. Tomorrow I'll tell her I need space, that I'm staying with a friend for a few days. By the time she realizes I'm serious, the papers will be filed. But that's not what happens. Because that night, while Jane is out at another networking event, super last minute, babe, sorry? I do something I didn't plan. I go back to the apartment one final time, take everything that matters and leave an envelope on the kitchen table. Inside is a letter. And the truth. Jane comes home at 6:15, earlier than expected. She's in a good mood, I can tell from the way she's humming as she unlocks the door, the sound carrying through the apartment's thin walls to where I'm parked outside watching. The humming stops abruptly. I imagine her stepping inside, noticing the silence first. Then the spaces. My laptop gone from the desk. My shoes missing from the rack. The apartment feeling too empty, too quiet, too wrong. My phone vibrates. Her name lights up the screen. I silence it. It rings again. And again. 7 calls in 3 minutes. Then the texts start. Gary, where are you? Why is your stuff gone? This isn't funny. Call me now. I watch her bedroom light turn on then off. She's checking the closets. Finding half-empty hangers. Realizing my suitcases are gone. My passport is gone. The emergency cash we kept in the lockbox. My half is gone. She calls my office. I know because my work phone buzzes with a forwarded message from reception. Your wife called. Said it's urgent. Should I give her your cell? I text back, on PTO. Family emergency. Don't forward anything. At 6:45 I see her silhouette in the window, pacing. The apartment lights flicker on and off as she moves from room to room, probably looking for clues, trying to understand how the husband who apologized last night is the same man who vanished today. She finds the envelope at 6:52. I know because the pacing stops. The apartment goes completely still. I imagine her hands shaking as she tears it open. 2 pages. The first is my letter. The second is David's business card and a formal notice that she'll be receiving divorce papers within the week. Her call comes 30 seconds later. I don't answer. She calls 16 more times. I block the number. She tries from Alexis's phone. I block that too. At 7:30 my phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number. It's Marcus, had fun last night. When can we do it again? Wrong number. He meant to text Jane. I screenshot it, send it to David, then delete everything. I start my car and drive toward David's place, leaving behind the life I built with a woman who never valued it. The letter said everything I couldn't say to her face. I'd written it at 3 in the morning, sitting in David's guest room, finally allowing myself to feel the weight of 2 years of gaslighting. Jane, I believe you. You were just being friendly. And I'm just being done. For 2 years, I've made myself smaller to fit into your version of what a secure husband should be. I've apologized for having boundaries. I've swallowed my gut instincts because you called them insecurity. Last night wasn't the first time. It was just the loudest. Marcus isn't the first. David helped me understand that. I'm not angry anymore. I'm just clear. I detailed the evidence. The phone calls. The messages. The Cabo trip. The $15,000. The business card collection I found in her desk drawer, dozens of men's numbers with little notes in her handwriting, hot lawyer from Denver event. Investment banker, very interested. You'll be receiving divorce papers within the week. I've moved out. Please do not contact me except through my attorney. I've transferred my half of the rent for the next 3 months to give you time. After that, the lease is in your name. I had it transferred yesterday. I hope you find whatever it is you're looking for. Gary. It wasn't cruel. It wasn't angry. It was just done. And that, I think, is what would hurt her most. The realization that I wasn't fighting for her anymore. David sits across from me now, beer in hand. She's called my office 12 times today. Left voicemails. Some crying, some angry. Wants to know where you are. What did you tell her? That I can't disclose client information. That she should read the notice I sent. My phone, a new number, new phone picked up this morning, buzzes. It's a text from Rachel, my college friend who moved to Austin 2 years ago. We'd reconnected 3 months ago when I was scouting the city for the job opportunity I'd secretly been pursuing. How's the first day of freedom? She asks. Strange, I type back. But good. Rachel isn't my girlfriend. We're just friends. But she's different from Jane in every way that matters. She's genuine. Kind. She doesn't play games. And when I told her what was happening, she just listened. Didn't tell me I was overreacting. Didn't tell me to try harder. Just said, "You deserve someone who respects you." "Austin's waiting when you're ready," Rachel texts. "No pressure. Just want you to know." I smile. For the first time in years, the future doesn't feel heavy. It feels like possibility. 3 weeks pass. Jane signs the papers, not because she wants to, but because David makes it clear she has no choice. No-fault divorce. Clean split. She keeps the apartment for now and the car I helped finance. I keep my dignity. I hear through Sarah that Jane's consultancy lost 2 major clients. Word got around about professionalism issues. I don't ask for details. It's not my problem anymore. Marcus stopped returning her texts after she asked if he wanted to grab dinner, for real this time. Turns out he was married too. His wife found out about his habit of collecting numbers at networking events and filed for divorce. Sometimes karma works fast. I'm in Austin now, settling into a new loft with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Lady Bird Lake. The tech company offered me a significant raise and a signing bonus that covered moving expenses and then some. I start the new position Monday. Rachel brings tacos to my housewarming. Just as friends. We eat on the balcony and watch the sunset, and she doesn't once check her phone or flirt with the delivery guy or make me feel like I'm competing for attention. "How are you really doing?" she asks. "Better," I say. And I mean it. There's grief, yes. Mourning what I thought my marriage was. But there's also relief. Freedom. The ability to breathe without wondering if my feelings are valid or if I'm being too sensitive. My phone buzzes. Unknown number. Against my better judgment, I check it. It's Jane. She's figured out my new number somehow. "I know I messed up. Can we please talk? I miss you." I show Rachel the text. She reads it, then looks at me seriously. "What are you going to do?" I delete the message. Block the number. Nothing. There's nothing left to say. Rachel nods, doesn't push. We finish our tacos in comfortable silence. And for the first time in 2 years, I don't feel like I need to explain myself or justify my boundaries or apologize for existing. That night, I sleep better than I have in months. 6 months later, Austin feels like home. The job is everything I hoped for: challenging, rewarding, filled with people who respect boundaries and don't play games. My coworkers actually like me. Imagine that. Rachel and I are dating now. It happened gradually, naturally, without drama or manipulation. One night we were watching a movie and she fell asleep on my shoulder. I kissed her forehead without thinking. She woke up, smiled, and kissed me back. "Took you long enough," she said. She's introduced me to her friends. She doesn't hide her phone. Last week, a guy at a bar tried to flirt with her while I was in the bathroom. When I came back, Rachel had already shut it down and moved closer to me. "Creep," she whispered, rolling her eyes. Such a small moment. But it meant everything. The difference between someone who respects you and someone who needs validation from strangers. I'm jogging past a coffee shop this morning when I see a couple through the window. They're arguing, the woman's hand on another man's arm, her boyfriend or husband looking hurt and confused. I pause, remembering that feeling. The knot in your stomach. The voice in your head wondering if you're crazy, if you're too jealous, if you're not man enough to handle a confident woman. Then I keep running. That's not my problem anymore. I learned the hard way that love without respect is just comfortable abuse. That just being friendly is sometimes code for, "I want my cake and eat it too." That walking away doesn't make you weak, it makes you wise. Rachel's waiting at the park with 2 cups of coffee and wearing one of my hoodies she borrowed last week. She smiles when she sees me and it's genuine. No games. No tests. Just affection. "Ready?" she asks. Absolutely. My phone buzzes. It's an email from an address I don't recognize, but the subject line makes my blood run cold. From Jane. I don't open it. Not now, maybe not ever. Some chapters need to stay closed. Rachel notices my hesitation. "Everything okay?" I look at her, then at the phone, then back at her. I silence it and slip it into my pocket. "Yeah. Everything's perfect. And for the first time in years, I mean it. Jane was right about one thing, she was just being friendly. And I'm just being done. The difference is I won. I won my peace. I won my self-respect. I won a life where I don't have to shrink myself to fit someone else's narrative." We start walking, Rachel's hand in mine, toward a future that doesn't require me to question my worth or apologize for having standards. Behind me, somewhere in another city, Jane's probably still playing her games. But they're not my games anymore. I'm finally free.